Visiting the Philippines. Be careful. Part 1. Health risks. If you are in an Australian Filipina relationship, inevitably you will visit the Philippines at least once. It's all part of the deal, as it were, apart from the fact that you do need to meet in person to get a visa, and that's not just partner visas, because you won't have any success getting a tourist visa from the Philippines and Australia if you haven't met in person yet. You also need to see how she lives if you want to understand her. She's not a short Aussie girl with a great suntan. She is most definitely Filipina. And that means to understand her properly, you need to try to understand the Philippines. So yes, you will need to visit, and you need to make sure you're safe by being aware of some of the dangers. In this article, we will look at health risks. Philippines and health risks. The Philippines is a third world country. It's also in Southeast Asia. It's not Australia. There are health risks here which you won't find back home in Brisbane or wherever you're from. Dengue fever. This is a mosquito-borne virus that can be deadly. Characterized by sudden high fever, pain behind the eyes, pains in the joints. In severe cases there can be bleeding from the nose and gums, and this can lead to death. It always requires hospitalization. The issue is not to expose yourself to mosquito bites. Use repellents. Make sure rooms are screened by burn mosquito coils, known as catol in Tagalog. Avoid exposure to mosquitoes, particularly in the early evenings. Hepatitis. Hepatitis is fairly rife here, especially as the locals aren't so careful with not sharing saliva. Yucky topic, but it's true. People will share food, cups, bottles, etc. So the virus transfers fairly easily. Hepatitis B is normally transferred by bodily fluid or by blood. Can be transferred by saliva. Hepatitis A is transmitted via water or food which has come into contact with infected poo. Yes, I know. Hepatitis A you can get over. Hepatitis B you will have for life. So being careful with whom you share bodily fluids with. The old rule says, flies spread disease, keep yours closed. As well as with sharing food, cups, drinks, etc. And watch out for possible water and food contamination, which I'll cover shortly. Now, coughs, colds and infections in general. Look, Australia is a big, clean country with fresh air and clean water. There are less people per square kilometre, which means less chance of cross-contamination. And there are more vaccinated people and people who see doctors when they're sick. You can drink water from the tap, you can eat in a roadside cafe without worrying about getting sick. You can walk barefooted without thinking you might be stepping in contaminated saliva. You can touch things without thinking you need to use a hand sanitizer afterwards. If you do get sick, then whatever antibiotic the doctor gives you will normally knock it on the head. Here in the Philippines, people dose themselves with antibiotics because you don't need a prescription. They might be taking cheap Chinese generic medicines which have less active ingredients in them. They may be only taking 3 or 4 tablets because that's all they can afford. And they're probably taking amoxicillin for everything because that's what Auntie Jing Jing said to take. And that builds resistant bacteria which can be difficult to control. So if you do get sick here, go and see a doctor and make sure you get proper antibiotics from a proper pharmacy. Don't try to tough it out. Excuse me. The same applies to wounds. Get them treated, or you might end up with cellulitis or something equally charming. Food and water risks in the Philippines. Rule: cooking kills bacteria. This is one of the reasons that food is cooked in the first place. You must be aware of this principle while you are here. This is the tropics, and hot humid conditions make bacteria reproduce faster than they will on the kitchen bench in Tasmania. and some of the locals are not as fastidious about food safety issues as I wish they were. So you need to watch yourself, or you may end up spending your trip here having the Philippines equivalent of Delhi Valley. Refrigeration has the opposite effect on bacterial growth as does tropical weather. It's cold and dry in there in the fridge, which means minimal bacterial growth. Freezers even more so. I can remember when I used to visit a previous girlfriend here many years ago. The fridge was full of soft drinks, which were for the sari store clientele, and food was left on the table under these little fly-screened covers, and the food could sit there for days and still get picked at. And hardly a week went past without somebody in that family having the trots or the vomits. And cooking food and eating it soon after, that also ensures a good bacterial kill has taken place, and it gives little time for the bacterial population to build up again. If the food is freshly cooked, then it's fairly safe. This applies even to meat and fish from the local market where it hasn't been refrigerated at all. If it is cooked thoroughly, then it's basically safe. If it was cooked this morning or even the day before and has been sitting out in the elements for the rest of the day getting stone cold, there's a good chance it will make you ill. And if it was never cooked properly in the first place, in other words, if it's still bleeding inside, then you are taking a huge risk. And anything uncooked, be that water, ice, salads, ice cream, unwashed fruit, these things have had no kill process, and they can be riddled with bacteria. Ice can be made from water contaminated with hepatitis A or other nasties. Taho, buku juice, some other drink or snack might be served in plastic cups that the vendor has reused without washing, or after washing with dirty water. So please be aware of all the above when visiting the Philippines, and you should enjoy your visit here without picking up anything more infectious than the love of a good woman. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it and you would like to subscribe, you can click on the little button down the bottom corner there, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are regular articles on aspects of Australian visas to the Philippines on www.downundervisa.com.au. There's a blog page you can subscribe to. There is a free visa assessment form, and there are regular articles on aspects of Australian-Filipino relationships, which you can see on www.FilipinaWives.com.au. If you can please share these articles and these videos on any of the social media that you use, we would appreciate that. Thank you.